children, welcome to English class. Today we will learn the lesson from class 10's book Language and Literature. Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. This has been taken from the book From Long Walk to Freedom written by Nelson Mandela. So let us learn about the lesson. A Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela is all about the struggle of freedom of South Africa. On May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela has taken the vow as the first black president of South Africa, and therefore it was becoming a newborn democratic country. Nelson Mandela took the oath as the first black president. This is an autobiography, and you should know what is the meaning of autobiography. The story of a person's life told by that person himself or herself, written in first person and from the first person point of view. Normally book length to cover whole life sometimes comes in shorter versions also, like in journals, diaries, letters and memoirs. Nelson Mandela, a member of African National Congress against apartheid, he encouraged in non-violent protest and later more radical. He was imprisoned from 1964 to 1990. Became the first black president in South Africa in 1994 with the end of apartheid in this nation. So we should know about apartheid also, as we have talked about it. As we know that legal segregation enforced by the National Party in South Africa between 1948 and 1994. Blacks were deprived of citizenship. Government segregated education, medical care, and provided black people with inferior services. After the end of apartheid, this was the day of inauguration of choosing a black president, Nelson Mandela. The inauguration day and the place of inauguration, 10th May, dawned 1994. It was bright and clear. Many world leaders had been coming to the author to pay respects to him. It was before the inauguration. The inauguration was to be the largest gathering of the world leaders there. The inauguration ceremonies took place in a big open building in Pretoria. Here, the South Africa's first democratic, non-racial government was to be installed. Now, in the ceremony, we are talking about the ceremony and the author addresses. Author here, Nelson Mandela himself. On that day, the author was in the company of his daughter Zinani. Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. It was the author's turn then. He was sworn in as the president. He pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution. He also pledged to devote himself to the well-being of the people. The author spoke of the newborn liberty. He thanked all the international guests. He said that they had come there to be with his countrymen. It was the common victory for justice, peace, and human dignity. He pledged to liberate his people from poverty, suffering, and discrimination. The discrimination that was between the blacks and the whites. Displayed by jets and helicopters and singing of the national anthem. After a few moments, colorful South African jets and helicopters flew over the Union buildings there. It was for military loyalty to democracy for a new government. Then, the highest military generals, having medals on their chests, saluted the author. He thought that they would have. The author thought of history. In the first decade, the South African people had patched up their differences with other black-skinned people. They had built a system of superiority also. It was the basis of the harshest societies. This system had now stood overturned. Now it was the system that recognized the rights and freedom of all people. These are the thoughts of Nelson Mandela, a man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. So Nelson Mandela's time was 1918 to 12, May 2013. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never can be extinguished. In me, he says, in me, every man has twin obligations, or in him, we can say. The obligations are to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, and his country. So these are called twin obligations. One is towards family, parents, children, another is towards people, community, and country. So he says that I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, as a brother, as a father, and even as a husband. So these were the different restrictions he felt. The author's regret and freedom fighters remembered. On this auspicious day came after the sacrifices of thousands of the people. The author thought of himself, the sum of all those people. He was pained that he couldn't thank them. The policy of apartheid, as I have talked of, that this is a segregation of the people on the basis of color, and the blacks were deprived of their facilities, of many rights, citizenship, social or racial discrimination, that is apartheid. The policy of apartheid created a lasting wound in his country and his people. This policy had produced great freedom fighters. They were like Oliver Tambo's, Walter Sisler's, Chief Lithulus, Yusuf Dados, etc. On with the hunger to be free. He was free as long as he obeyed his father and obeyed the customs of his tribe. But soon he realized that his freedom was an illusion. He began to hunger for freedom when it was taken away from him. As a student, he wanted freedom. Thank you for watching the video.